And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. Off to the races we go once again. Back to work, another glorious day just to be alive, as we all know. We'll start today out at 69. Expect the high to reach about 96. Heat index is going to be tapping somewhere right around 100, so it's going to be another warm day. Let me turn that off so that doesn't make as much racket there with the beeps that do come in on all of that. But another warm day in store for us as we get prepared, and we'll be watching this closely over the next week. What's going on in the Gulf? Is there a chance? There is now. We'll do the breakdown in a minute when we get to weather, but there is a chance that a storm could make the Gulf the first of the year. We'll see what happens with that closely as it nears all of that. As we glance across the state of Mississippi, let's go ahead and pull up radar this morning and take a look at what we do know. Meridian Honda radar showing that the northwest corner, let me turn on all this so we can get the accurate information here, has already got a heat advisory. Now, this is an extreme up here in the northern portion. The Meridian area, Philadelphia through Stark, Vegas, even down through Clark County, down to Wayne. We're going to see about 100 on that heat index. But in northwest Mississippi, extreme as we look at that. As we glance to our right, if you're headed to Selma, Alabama this morning, expect a little fog as well as up by the Rocket. If you're traveling 65 early this morning, you're going to see some fog in those areas. And you can bet your bottom dollar as we look at that through West Virginia, through Knoxville, those areas across there, a lot of fog. Even up near Roanoke this morning there. Greensboro, just east of there, near Greenville, South Carolina, a little bit as well. As we glance here, we do see some showers in Nebraska this morning. Yeah, look at all of that. This is what we've got with those models there. You see that coming, don't you? We'll get closer into this, but this is spaghetti models. Now, we've got a serious hurricane right here. This is a Cat 4, Fiona, which, as you can tell, is going to stay away from the coast here, and this is going to go head up toward Canada, is where that is headed. By the time it reaches 100% landfall there, it should be running at 69 miles an hour, dropping down. Cat 4 this morning, that's a very serious one, but it stays away from the coast there. This is what we're looking at, Invest 98, as we watch this, and we'll come back to it. Anything that is over 3 days, and keep this in mind as people forecast the weather for you. When all of this comes to these hurricanes, you can take good guesses, but nothing is for sure past 3 days. It can do anything. It's Mother Nature. Remember that. What we're guessing here is let's pull this back up and just show you this of what it looks like it will most likely do. Some forecasters have this going in right around here in the Panhandle at some point. Not west, but everything is staying to the east of Mississippi for sure along here. But most have this coming either in toward Miami, this area here on the south, or right at the Panhandle. Again, way too early to really say. This could turn west a little bit and make its way toward Alabama and Mississippi. Just way too early. We'll watch it. Invest 98, but I am getting words that this could be a sure enough hurricane before it's all said and done. A lot of systems out there, so we'll watch it closely as this gets a little bit closer to us. Well, the city of Meridian, look out. We had one of those issues yesterday, a rump row. Maybe you saw the post we put up here. Let me drag this up where everybody can view here. The city of Meridian had water issues yesterday, as you saw that as they were digging. All of that is down. Now, boil water notice has been issued for the city of Meridian. As we look here today, here's the map, and it's not the best. We get this from the city of Meridian. I'd have to have a little bit better map as you pull that up. It's kind of blurry, but you can probably make out close to where you live, these areas here, up near Highland, Old Country Club, and those areas there. That's the best I can get the clarity on that from the map that the city provided there. But keep it in mind as you prepare today. Boil water notice, don't be drinking any of that at this point. They moved this from a 3 million gallon tank to a 1 million, and it caused some issues. So hopefully that will be fixed very soon, and we'll be able to back off of that. We'll keep you posted as that moves along. We still, to my knowledge, have the boil water notice for North Lauderdale Water Association, also in Lauderdale County, for portions of Bailey in that area there. I'll double check with them this morning to see if that's been lifted or not. As we all find out, especially you notice this during these ice storms, it's almost better to be without power than it is without water. That's painful, isn't it? Horrible there. And it's a double whammy when you have to do without both. And we've all been through that before. Yeah, imagine before we had all that. There's folks that can tell you they were around. Well, it happened again, and it's becoming a common occurrence. How do you fix it? I don't really know. But Highway 80 West, as we go back here to take a look here, yep, it happened again last night. An 18-wheeler got hung underneath the old railroad bridge. As you'll see that, it's just peeled. I know that's dark, but that 18-wheeler, if you can see there, that's part of the roof that's been peeled back, and the back of the trailer is leaned back. Now, he was delivering UPS packages is what he was doing. Headed west and left the truck stop, and it got him. More and more that happens there as we just take a quick look at the little map that I put up of that last night. They went out on that, and fortunately, no one was hurt. Sure takes a lot of time for the guys that have to get that inspected by the railroad before that bridge can be used again by anyone. So our officials had a late night last night. Give them a little break if you happen to bump into them today anywhere. It happened again in Meridian, Mississippi yesterday. What am I talking about? Gunfire. Somebody was shot. As we go to take a look closer at this, one person shot in the leg. It was on the 600 block of Martin Luther King Drive is where this happened. Let's click on this to take a little closer look and zoom in on this so you can see this. Here's 8th Street right here. Here's Wendy's. It would be due south of where Wendy's is. It's happened a lot in that neighborhood there of gunshots. This person was shot in the leg. It was non-life-threatening. They were transported to a hospital. But again, I tell you, somebody was shot in Meridian, Mississippi. Shouldn't have to say that, should we? We had a shakeup yesterday, Highway 19, and I really, when I first got the message of this, thought this was going to turn out totally different than it did. As I spoke to Sheriff Eric Clark as the morning progressed after this happened, it was quick to see that it wasn't as bad as it could have been. As we go back here to pull up Highway 19, this would be just south, and we'll look at this first here. This is just south of Philadelphia. County Road 448 is where that is. A car and a dump truck collided, more or less a head-on collision that we had, and believe it or not, here's the picture from that. No one was seriously hurt. We did have some minor injuries, but this could have been so much worse involved in this. Traffic was held up for quite a while as they got everything moved out, and they did open one lane of traffic so everybody could kind of ease through to ease up some of the buildup of traffic. But that was could have been so much worse. We're glad that it ended up being minor. Still not good to be involved in a wreck, is it? But anyway, that was just south of Philadelphia. Watch these construction zones. I think right in that area it was 45 miles an hour. Don't glance down at your phone. Don't daydream. That truck was working where they're working all that bridge work there in Neshoba County. That's what it was doing, coming in and out. Next thing you know, head on. So be careful. We also spoke with Eric yesterday. The Neshoba County Sheriff's Department has been busy, a school resource officer. And this is maybe hadn't got as much of attention as it should have, because this is very serious. As we pull this up back to our webpage at sammedia.network, a 16-year-old arrested trying to enter a ball game at Neshoba Central Junior High, the ball game there, with a stolen firearm. As a matter of fact, it was 2 that was put down in the pants. Now, the school resource officer was standing there and saw kids slipping out of a wood line coming toward the school. They were stopped, and sure enough, there was a bulge. And that bulge ended up being a gun. If you'll read all that, he's been arrested, 16 years old. Pretty bad there. But read all that there of what happened with it. Way too young, number one, to have stolen guns. Number two, to have a gun going into a ball game. Was anything going to be going on? We don't know what would have happened. We do know it was stopped. A big thank you to the Neshoba County Sheriff's Department. I think also Philadelphia City showed up to help with that as well. I think it was about 4 teenagers that were coming across there. Another one's been detained. Let's see where all that comes around. Hopefully it was nothing more than it was. But it was stopped. That is what is good. We have a attempted murder trial beginning in Noxubee County. Oh, boy, oh, boy. During an armed robbery, somebody was shot. We hate to see those types of things. Been a while since I've been in Macon, but boy, a lot goes on in that area there. I think we got another story about Macon this morning as well. We do. We'll get to that in just a moment there. We see more of this. It's huge across the United States. We've seen several cases of this in Mississippi lately. Flowood is where this happened. Rankin County, a teenager was arrested for allegedly making threats to commit a shooting at Northwest Rankin High School. You have to take these very seriously. If you remember, some of this began in Mississippi years and years ago, one of the first times any of this ever happened at a school. So anytime anyone makes a threat, it's taken very serious, whether it's called in or they do it on social media. That has been the big thing there, is these social media threats. She's been arrested, detained, and hopefully that will never happen again. And maybe it was just only talk. It still has to be handled that way. And it shows others, if you do this, this is what will happen. This is even sad to begin to tell you. 15 years old. Life hasn't really begun yet, has it? You remember when you were 15, most likely. Didn't know anything. You were just trying to figure out life and get through junior high. Jackson, Mississippi, a 15-year-old who was out on a murder charge on a bond. Remember what I just said there. Already arrested for murder of someone. Out on bond, is rearrested for shooting at a family member. 15 years old. That is, that's bad. Where does all this tell us? That we've got problems in homes. We need to start with families to fix these things. The original murder happened almost a year ago. I don't know what to say about it, but we see more and more of this, of teenagers getting involved in shootings. Used to be most of shootings and deaths in mid-20s, but is increasingly getting lower and lower in high school students, junior high students. Something needs to be done, something in the communities. What it is, I don't know. But let's hope it happens, and hope it happens quick, which leads us to our next story, Jackson, Mississippi. As we all remember, and it's thank goodness there's finally been an arrest in Meridian of the little boy that was 5 that was at his home, was shot in his home. This is a little different, but still at home. An 18-year-old, Jackson, Mississippi, lying in his bed. His grandmother found him shot to death. They're investigating. They have no clue. Doesn't go in to tell us yet if it was a drive-by or if someone slipped into the home. But 18 years old, killed in his bed. We don't know if he was involved in anything. Could have been an innocent person. Someone broke in. We don't know the details. But still horror. 18 years old to lose your life for no reason. Madison. They've arrested, we all know where that is. Very, very nice town. A subdivision. Had a little shootout there. They've arrested 2 people in conjunction with that. Why people think that they have to go to a lethal force to settle an argument, I don't know. Sometimes it's just best to walk away. Cool off. It'd be the solution, but not every time that happens, does it there? We do see in Mississippi that the Mississippi Highway Patrol, and this happened Highway 45, Wayne County, yesterday afternoon, right around 3 o'clock, 8 students were transported to a hospital. They were involved in a wreck involving a school bus. No major issues, but again, just south of us. And you're in Wayne County. All right, I've heard of it. Where is it? It's just south of Quitman. You go through Shibuda, due south of there, Waynesboro. Yeah, right along in there is where all of that happened. But again, everybody's okay, but they did send 8 to be checked out. This is sad how parents and how things lead to this, we will never know. Natchez is where we go. Boyfriend has been arrested for murder. The mother has been charged with child neglect. She'll have to serve 8 years. He'll get 20 for the death of a child that was beat to death. Children are innocent, can't protect themselves against people like this. I have a lot of suggestions, but I have no solutions, do I? And I don't know the answer. How horrible a defenseless child hurt like that. Happened some time back, but sentencing has finally reached him. Let's see here. This is a no-no. We go to Kosciuszko, Mississippi. We got anybody that is northwest of here, Kosciuszko area? We see this on a national level, there was a lady last week that was killed by pit bulls. You know what I'm talking about. They're nice dogs, but one of the breeds that do kill, they do hurt, and I usually get some pushback every time I bring up the death of a pit bull, where they tell me no, it's not the dog's fault. It may not be. They need to be restrained better, stronger fences if you keep this type of animal. But we do see this where Kosciuszko man has been arrested because the meter reader, the water guy, was attacked by dogs. Sent the person to the hospital. Serious condition. It's a lady. Let me back up and fix that. That was attacked by this, but the owner has been arrested for that. Has been charged. She's I think serious condition in the hospital. She's going to make it, but pretty serious condition there. There's no way to get a hold when they grab you. And German Shepherds do that too, but we see it on a national level. Y'all know this. Pit bulls being one of the strongest there. One of the favorites of people that do wrong things with dogs as well, the fighting. You know where I'm going with that. This man just had two and they attacked, and they've made an arrest on this. Our Attorney General in the state of Mississippi has signed her name. Are y'all aware of this, that this is happening nationwide? You go to the store to buy some ammo. Maybe you need a box of 22s. Maybe you need a box of 30-06 shells for deer season. Well, the U.S. of A. government wants to track that. Credit card companies are signing up to hold that information and give it to the government. Our Attorney General is saying, no, that's against the law. It's our Second Amendment right to be able to purchase what we want without being targeted. We'll see where this leads. Now, I bet if you were to really, really dig deep, they've been doing this for quite a while. It just hadn't slipped out to the American public. I'm not accusing anyone, and of course I have no way to back up that claim. But sometimes you have to read through the fine print, don't we? But we'll see if that gets stopped or not. I even heard a few years ago there was a bank that would block the sale. It was a national bank. I'm not going to call it. If you went to buy a firearm, they would flag it to where you couldn't make that purchase. It's your money. Where does all this lead? We don't know. We head back to Noxubee County, as I mentioned a moment ago. A former sheriff's son will spend, a man is accused of shooting the former sheriff's son. He'll spend 5 years in jail for that. Off he went in handcuffs. Well, I tell you, a lot goes on up in that Macon, Mississippi area, doesn't it? Y'all behave up there if you're watching. Let's see here. This happened a few months ago, and as I have said many, many times, what I consider a white-collar crime is just as bad as what you'd call a blue-collar, where you walk in the store, you take money, you take something that's not yours. If you do this on a big scale, as we all know, we've seen it on Wall Street. But an Oxford business owner will spend the next 45 months in jail. We brought this up a few weeks ago. Sentencing has been passed down. 75-year-old lady stole $2.9 million from a sorority. She has been sentenced 45 months in prison. She will go. Now, it doesn't say that if she'll be up for parole before then. 75 is on up there. But she was in charge of the bookkeeping. More or less over the course of time, moved $2.9 million to her personal account out of the sorority. Busted. Always watch those in charge of money. And if you're that person, always ask for somebody to double check. Make sure it's legit, up and up when you deal with other people's money. Y'all have seen those headlines. It happens a lot there. This is the most horrible thing I can tell you. We'll go to Alabama next for this headline here. And you'll probably know where I'm headed for this. Nationally, this could be somewhere around 14. I hate to even give statistics, but the facts are the facts. A 2-year-old boy has been found dead in a hot car this week in Alabama. Left in the car for hours. He passed away. It was originally reported that he was 3, but he was 2 years old. Blount County is where that happened yesterday afternoon. He was found around 3 o'clock. That's sad. That's just awful. Don't have any suggestions. I know people tell you if you're not used to dropping the child off where it's grandparents, it's the father maybe sometimes, or somebody else takes them. and just totally forget somebody's in the car. A lot of talk as we look national news this morning. Putin is who I'm talking about. Always concerning, as we even mentioned yesterday, that folks signing up for the military down in the United States. This guy is threatening the West, which is, well, the United States of nuclear. That scares me. All it takes is the push of a button of somebody that really doesn't know what they're doing. We need somebody that they fear. Definitely. We'll watch it closely there of what becomes of this. Someone's been arrested, and they should have been. Washington, D.C., the Washington Monument. Defaced it. It's the best way to do it. And I'm not going to repeat what they wrote in red paint as big as they could. It was disgusting. They've been arrested. Somebody will have to clean up this mess. We've seen our monuments destroyed across the United States, haven't we? I'm sick of it myself. There needs to be a law about this. Imagine that. Well, we got your forecast coming up next. I hope you'll stay close with me. We'll find out what that weather's going to do. Hurricane talk, all that's next as we begin this gorgeous Wednesday. The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group. As I look at comments, Christy said that she knew somebody personally that writes news articles that said that she knew that they used the word pit bull because it makes people more or less at clickbait where you'll read the story. We try to keep it as honest as we can of what we know of the facts of what goes on across the United States, and I don't make up anything. That's just the way it's put out. Tough thing. I got bit twice when I was a kid. Wait a minute, it was my German Shepherd, and it hurt. Boy, I'll never forget that. Me and German Shepherds, I keep my distance. I'm nervous around those critters. All right, let's get into our forecast this morning and find out exactly what the National Weather Service tells us will be our forecast for today. And let me tell you, it's going to be warm. Don't ever forget about that heat index. It's going to be nice and warm as we'll check the forecast now.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
As we check our record highs and record lows, it was still 1925. We had that yesterday, record high of 99. It held firm there. We move up a couple years for the record low, 1899. That's been a while, hasn't it? 45-degree record low set back on this date when they got up. Whew. As we look to today, we're looking at 96, somewhere around 97 for a high today. Sunshine throughout the state of Mississippi. You couldn't get any better than that. Look at Greenwood, Mississippi, the Mississippi Delta. As we already know, up in this area, the heat index will be 105 to 110. But on the thermometer, we're looking at 100. Woo, boy. September showing out, isn't it? Let's head over to Alabama today, 96 in Tuscaloosa, and we'll see 96 as well there in Livingston. On across to Auburn, a little bit cooler, 93. Not anything like the Mississippi Delta, is it? As we look at this, and again, this is that heat stress that we're showing right there where it will be over 100 degrees there today. Heat index at least 105 there, and I'm not sure that this isn't outdated and that new one that I got from the National Weather Service supersedes that. But that will happen through 5 o'clock this afternoon. Extreme heat. If you're on a tractor somewhere in the Mississippi Delta, pay attention, especially open cab. It'll get you that heat wheel before you know it, behind a weed eater. Now, we're kind of at normal, which I almost don't believe at this point after I just read those temperatures. We pull this up to take a look at what the National Weather Service tells us, where we're at normal this time of year. But look to our west. This is coming, creeping across from California toward our way, toward Texas, into our area. We got another heat wave on the way. It's not over yet. Now, let's look at that 7-day forecast, exactly what we have. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. As we mentioned today, the heat index in the Meridian area, now that does include all of your Macon, your Louisville, Philadelphia, Quitman, over to Newton, 100 today on the heat index side, 96 to 95, depending upon where you are in our area. 0% chance of rain. We'll hit 97 tomorrow, warm. A little bit cooler Friday. Look at that, down to 85. Clear sky, though. Saturday, the weekend rolls in with 90-degree weather, and we have a lot of events happening this weekend. It's going to be perfect weather for that. Even on Sunday, only a 20% chance. Now, Monday rolls in with cooler weather. Look at that, 84 degrees come Monday morning, 81 on Tuesday. Now, if we could keep it that way from now on, I'd really like that. Wouldn't you? Brought to you by our friends at Wilson Saw and Outdoor. We move right ahead all the way through October the 5th, and I see 70s, 79, 78, but at least it's in the 7s. Let's be thankful of that. As we look all the way to October the 5th, we're showing 82, and as you'll notice, our biggest chance of rain will come October the 1st. Got a 30% chance. Now, I'll remind you, all of this is subject to change due to the fact that it's Mother Nature. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot going on in the waters as we turn to the National Hurricane Center this morning. Up here, Gadsden, which is a tropical storm at 63 miles an hour, moving northeast at 16 miles an hour. It's going to stay away from land. Now, the more serious stuff here, this is a Cat 4. It will curve to the right, and we'll show you that in a second, but a chance that it will affect as it gets into Canada up here. Moving along this morning at 132 miles an hour, moving north at 8 miles an hour, but the winds of 132. We have a new one that is developed here off the coast at a 50% chance. This is at 20% chance. This is what we have concern. Invest 98 as it makes its way toward the Gulf. Now, there is that chance of models, spaghetti models, even mine, showing it coming up into the Gulf. Will it go here, or will it go into South Florida? We really don't know. We'll watch it closely. We're too many days out. Again, as I said earlier, anything more than 3 days becomes a guessing game. Let's get it closer and we'll know. But heads up on all of that. Make sure generators and things of that nature, especially if you're on the coast, our area, might not hurt to get that fixed. As I mentioned here, here's the path as we pull this up right there for what's going to be happening with Fiona. Headed that direction toward Canada. Now, hit this one right here, this tropical storm going away from us. And that's all good news as we watch that. As always, we'll be here to tell you about it. Now, let's look at what our fishing forecast calls from our friends over at Chet's Paint Body. Looks pretty good today as we head out. The wind's going to be light and variable, becoming northeast 5 to 10 if you're out looking for that. Your first major time to grab that rod and reel will be at 10 o'clock today until lunchtime. Take along a sandwich, enjoy yourself. Take a grandkid, take your son if you have a moment to go fishing, enjoy yourself. We'll have special guests joining us this morning as Clark County Chamber of Commerce will be coming in to talk about Clark Fest as it gets ready to come into Clark County this weekend. Again, beautiful weather for it. We'll find out more about it beginning at 8. Candace will come back to join us as well. Thank y'all. Junior Pittman, appreciate you watching that. Tricia Brown is up. Rick Joyner, glad to see y'all. Let's see here. Dawn Harlan, good morning. Joyce Gressett, many of y'all up and at 'em today. Ooh, Miss Joyce Snowden Godwin. And I owe you a phone call, don't I? I saw that on my phone. Sorry about that. Let's see here. As we glance up, Terry Race, it's sad days of some of the news stories that we covered. All facts. It does happen. We watch things closely here in the Meridian area to give you the latest. As always, we'll be here to let you know what comes out. We'll be back in 1 hour and 1 minute live. Fox 30, turn on your televisions. You can also do this if you want to throw it up from your television. Maybe you can't get local television networks. Whatever the case, you can take your YouTube channel and throw it to your television. I need to put some instructions on how to do that. But if you're watching Facebook and you have a smart TV, you can throw it up on a screen where you can see it on the big screen instead of staring at your phone, however you want to do that. Thank y'all. I appreciate you so much. We'll be back 1 hour from now with the Scotty Ray Report as Candace will join me. We'll see you then.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: